With the September energies being extremely intense, there's a lot of invitation for transformation. And so there are a lot of people who might be going through a dark night of the soul, or those who are already on the path, they might be going through another identity loss. So in this video, we'll be talking about the dark night of the soul. What is it, and how to help reduce the intensity and pain that you might be feeling right now whilst going through it. And we'll also be having a look at the different identity crises that you might be going through and the loss of identity in case you are already on this path. Because these energies at the moment, they are intense and they are really asking for anything which is not in your current path to be fully released and for you to take that step of transformation. So if this has intrigued you, then continue watching. Now, what is the dark night of the soul? Well, when you grow up in the society, you have different beliefs which are so imposed on you, which can make you lose touch with your true self. It can make you put on these masks in order to conform society and play a character in this laid out game. Now, what the dark night of the soul truly is, it is you reawakening who you truly are, reawakening this inner you, which you hid so many years ago, and over which you placed different masks to fit in society. And so, what is happening with you is that your true you basically has said it is time for you to wake up. It is time for your true you to be reawakened. It is time for you to remove all these layers of crap which are imposed onto you and which have been blocking you. And at the beginning of this phase, you are going to feel so much discomfort. You are going to be going through depression, anxiety, hating life. You're going to question everything around you. You're going to question reality because in that moment, you might have started becoming aware of all the fakeness in the world and that you might have gone through a trajectory of life which does not correspond to the kind of life you actually want. And you might be coming to realizations about so much BS which has been told to you throughout all your years of life. And so basically, you might be questioning your whole life. You might be questioning the reality which you believed until now. And you'll have all these feelings of deep uncomfort. And it'll all get so strong until the point where you truly break. And this point is where your real you is starting to come to the surface and your ego you. So, all these masks of fakeness which you put on, all these identity layers and these different beliefs and labels through which you lived life, well, they are going to start crashing down. And that is the dark night of the soul. When your whole identity, which you believe to be true until now, it comes crashing down. And most likely you'll have something severe happen, which is really going to trigger this big, you know? And it's that moment where you will start shifting. Because when this big boof happens, that is, well, there's no going back then. That is the start of you starting to reawaken your true self. And in order to first get to there, you're going to have to walk through some serious darkness. And now, this is really done alone because the dark night of the soul, it happens differently to each of us. This big boof is going to be different to each and every one of us, depending on your strengths, weaknesses, your life experiences, the amount of trauma within you, the amount of fake layers which you have built up. It is so different from one person to another that it's really important to merely be aware that you are shifting now and that you are having a loss of ego identity. And this ego identity, it is full of false beliefs, false ways of seeing the world which do not correspond to your true you. And in order to, help yourself navigate through that intense moment of darkness, it's just so important to be aware that you're not going crazy. It's to be aware that it is actually a great thing that is currently happening, even if right now you cannot stop crying and you are just questioning everything and you think you're going nuts and nothing makes sense anymore and your whole life has gone to shit. Well, that's actually a great opportunity. And I know that sounds terrible to say, because if you're watching this right now and you're crying your eyes out and you're really questioning everything and life itself, you don't want to hear that, you know? And I just think in those moments, just hold on right now and know that it is part of the path for you to eventually live something which is so beautiful, which you can't even feel right now. But know that it's really an invitation for you to start your journey of healing, of reawakening your true self. And it's like the metaphor of the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. You have been the caterpillar the whole time, and all of a sudden it's time for you to start the evolutional process of you turning into the butterfly. And that evolutionary process, it's not comfortable. It is one which is heavy, full of pain, struggle, and suffering. And I know these are not things that you want to experience and you just want to, jump to being the butterfly. But in order to be as strong and wise and have these beautiful experiences which the butterfly will have, you need to go through these processes, these uncomfortable stages. And the dark night of the soul is basically the beginning of these transformational stages which are going to allow you to be the butterfly. So in a way, it really is a great opportunity which you have now stepped onto. And very often, this dark night of the soul, it happens without us actually wanting, well, consciously wanting it to happen, because you might be so involved with this life that you've led for many years. And you've gotten used to living really with these uncomfortable feelings. And so, you kind of do things in society, like you go partying, you ingest different substances, or you have different coping mechanisms, different outlets in this world to help you deal with these uncomfortable feelings. Because deep down, you know that you're not happy with that life that you live, but it's okay, because those feelings where you get to numb it all, well, they give you these jolts of happiness. And so it's kind of okay. And you've just gotten used to that way of living. But when that dark night of the soul happens, it's really a signal that that is no longer an option for you. That is not going to, serve you in the future. And that in the future, you're actually going to get to a point where you feel all this bliss, this happy way of living and these happy feelings inside, without having to do anything, without having it to only come through an outlet, but it'll actually be your life to live in a state of true bliss. But first, you need to remove all of these layers of bullshit and really do a lot of healing work within. So, in case you've started this journey, please just have patience. Please know that it's a great, great path which you're going on. And eventually things will get better. And the pain you're feeling now, just hold on and really try to do different meditations where there's sound frequencies which are played, which can help reduce this pain. And you can find these for free on YouTube. Just make sure to click on those videos which don't have millions views, but a couple of thousand maybe, because there you'll actually have authentic frequencies which are going to help reduce the pain which you feel. And try doing really simple breath work exercises which you find on YouTube as well, or different meditations, and journal a lot. And sit down and cry with yourself, allow yourself to cry and to be angry, and write everything down. It really, really helps. And also know that you are not alone on this journey. Like, there's so many people who are going on this journey, and as much as you don't know these people and you have no contact with them, just know that there are so many others who are going on it. And so many people, they've also already been on it and they've come out beautifully. It's just part of the process. And in the worst of your times, remember not to take things too seriously, and just, try to really take yourself, like visualize yourself going into the universe and looking at the earth, and then looking at the whole world and everything that's happening right now, all the pain you're feeling. Look at the world and just tell yourself, oof, Don't take it too serious. This is just part of the path in order for me to have a much more beautiful life experience here on earth. All right. So I hope that could help some people who are going on, the dark night of the soul. When you go on this path, you'll also most likely you'll start losing touch with, people who you once knew, like people who you thought were your friends. They're no longer on the same path as you. And, in some cases, it needs to be a very uncomfortable situation that happens. And in other places, well, people, they just grow apart and there's no big thing that happens for these separations to take place. Or you might also be in an environment where nobody understands you and they're all telling you you're going nuts because it doesn't make sense to them because they're still living life through their masked self. And it's just important to remember that you only need to listen to what feels right to you. And if that means that right now you have to be away from this environment, which you have known to be your environment until now, then do that. Do yourself this favor, because it's just going to get more and more painful when you try to stay in environments where people don't understand what you're going through, where they make you feel bad about what you're going through. And so it's better to be alone and just to try out different healing methods and also try to go to different, workshops or events or different classes, and you might meet people who might be going through a similar situation as you. So please keep this in mind. If you're in an environment which does not favor your current growth, then go away from it. It's not going to benefit you. It's just going to cause you a lot of pain. Now, if you already have gone through this initial dark night of the soul, well, then you know what I'm talking about. It is not comfortable. And this is also the part about spirituality, which too few people talk about. Like, spirituality really is not about affirmations and bliss. It is first through going through darkness in order to get to that bliss. It's like the yin and yang, to get to the light, you first need to reach the dark. And I mean, you know what I'm talking about if you've been through it. However, at the moment, we're constantly in life on a trajectory of growth, right? And once you start it, which is, catapulted by the dark night of the soul, where there's no end to this growth, because it's like an earth school that we're living on, and we're merely having experiences to grow and evolve as a soul. And when you're on this, you're going to have different moments in life where there's going to be another massive, like, change happening, where even though you already grew into this new person, now there's going to be another loss of something, like some habits you had, which are still kind of limiting you, maybe. And it's now time to fully release them. Or you switched jobs, for example, and you were in a job which already suited you better, but all of a sudden you feel like, this is still not the right thing for me, and it's not fostering you anymore, and you feel like that needs to go away. And it's uncomfortable when these changes happen because it's scary. You're jumping into the unknown again, and you already have the experience of what it's like when you go into the unknown, and it's heavy. However, you also know that it's going to eventually give you a much more beautiful outcome, and it's going to allow you to have an even more beautiful journey on earth. So be patient, have trust once again, because these energies at the moment, they are really, really asking for transformation. And they are so strong and intense at the moment that you can really feel it's time to let a habit go. And it's all about discipline. You're going to have these tests where, you'll have thoughts come up, and it's up to you whether you decide to act on them or whether you decide to release them and say for yourself, choose for yourself that you're going onto a trajectory which is going to even improve your life. And you might also be in situations where things are falling apart, like a new relationship. All of a sudden, it could just be going to ends, and you thought for yourself, "Oh, I'll just try to work things out." But all of a sudden, like since September, things happen where you're like, "Whoa, this is I think this is coming to an end much sooner rather than later," and it's going to hit you really intensely. And kind of scare you as well in a way because it's happening so intensely. But have patience and have faith, because you know that all these changes occurring, they are happening for you to have an even more beautiful life. And they are happening so that they can be released because they no longer resonate with the frequency which you are shifting on. And to shift onto that new frequency, well, you got to let the old stuff go. The stuff which does not fit that new frequency, the job which doesn't fit the frequency, the relationship which doesn't fit that frequency, it all is going away. The habits that don't fit that frequency, let them go. So, in case you're already on the journey, this is another time for more transformation. So, if you're on that, have patience. And the cool thing is, by now, you've already had the experiences of many changes happen, and you know that it's happening for your greater good. So, yeah, just be patient with yourself, trust yourself, and really let your gut guide you. And breathe. Just breathe. And also, move the energies by dancing around alone in your room, a living room, wherever, and be a lot in nature. Take grounding walks, like walk barefoot in a field if you can. Sit at stones which you feel called to sit on, or just stand in front of a river and feel all the water flowing and cleansing your energetic field. That can really help you. All right, I hope that this video was of assistance and can help you navigate through these intense energies, and know that life is happening for you and we're all in this together. And I'm sending you so much love and so much energy. Mwah! You got this.